All right, joining us today on Pirate Radio Live, former Pirate righty Josh Grosz, part of the Diamondbacks organization, and got a game coming up tonight. We'll talk about that and more. Josh, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. How are you doing?
Hey, doing great. Appreciate you joining us for a few minutes here. And just saw when we were getting you on, there is this maybe more for the fans, but something new with the MLB draft. Day one of the draft will now be 4 rounds. Day two will include rounds 5 through 20. And just wanted to ask you about your draft experience. I believe an 11th rounder for the Yankees. Like, what do you remember about that day? What did you think going in? Were you drafted around where you thought you'd be? What was your draft experience like?
I didn't know that they were changing the draft. What you just said to 4 days. You had 4 days on the 4 rounds on the
Four
first day.
rounds, one day one,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, that's gonna be a long day, but my experience was fine. I mean, I went pretty much exactly where I thought I was gonna go. I mean, I had a pretty solid junior season, especially the first couple months, and then like the last probably third of the year was okay. And if you want to be a high pick guy, you got to have a really good college resume, and especially your draft year or your senior year, have a really good year, complete year. And so I would say that I was picked pretty much where I thought I would go.
And
Um, it was a fun day. I mean, I tell people that I was a first rounder on day three because it was the first round of the third day, which is no, actually not true, but
sounds
um,
good.
yeah, it sounds great on paper. But yeah, no, it was fun. I mean, because I got the third day is kind of stressful. I feel like for everyone that's still on the board because after that day's over, if you don't hear your name, you're kind of scratching your head trying to figure out what you're gonna do. And after day two had ended, my agent had told me that there were a couple teams that um, had been calling and asking in rounds like 8 through 10, and just couldn't put anything together. And then pretty much day three started, I think, at like 11 a.m. And my agent told me probably around 9 or 10 that the Yankees were going to take me with their first pick of the 11th round, or not with their first pick. They'll take me with their pick in the 11th round if I'm still on the board. And he asked me like, "Is that okay?" And I was like, "That's awesome." Like, yes. And so I kind of knew before it started that it was happening, but also you don't really know until it happens for sure. So you're still kind of holding your breath until it's finally set in stone. But whenever that happened, like I got to enjoy the rest of the day with my family, and we celebrated, and then I had to go back to Greenville and pack up all my stuff, and then head to Tampa. But it was definitely an exciting time for sure.
I'm glad it went that way for you because I've talked to a lot of guys. Bryce Williams, former ECU tight end, comes to mind. He was told the Panthers were set to take him in the seventh round, and they didn't. I've heard a lot of stories about, hey, if you're available here, you're going to get taken, and it doesn't happen. So glad it went that way for you because, like you said, until it's set in stone, you never know.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this with you, Josh. The being traded. You've experienced it twice now, and I believe you said the second time around it was a lot easier to handle than the first time, right? So, how about going from the Yankees to the Rockies and eventually Rockies to the D backs? What's that been like for you?
Yeah, I mean, the second time was much easier of a transition just because it wasn't in the middle of the season. You have a little more time to process what's going on, like where you got to start heading, who you're going to be meeting. And see when it happened when I went to the Yankees to the Rockies. I was on a flight the next morning. I found out at 4 o'clock on like a Tuesday, and I was on a flight at 7 a.m. on a Wednesday. So
Right.
just the time in between is very short, and you kind of got to transition quickly. And when I got traded to the Diamondbacks, they were there's a lot more time. It's off season. They were pretty much like, hey, we want you down here as soon as possible, but we realized there's no rush, but we would like to have you down here probably next week. And so I had a little more time to gather my thoughts and like pack up my stuff, and it was just more time to process what's going on. And obviously, anytime you get traded, usually it's a good thing. It means that there's a team out there that also wants you and
Yeah.
has a goal and kind of something in mind for you. and so both trades for me were good things. Um, and I'm super pumped to be with the Diamondbacks. I think they're a great organization. They made a bunch of I don't want to say I mean I didn't know anyone before I got here, obviously, but like they hired a bunch of new people. They got a new pitching director. He's great. A lot of new pitching coaches in the org coordinators. And so from the pitching side of things, it's been a great transition. It's been pretty smooth, and it's been a I had a great spring. It was a really fun spring training. First time having spring training for me in Arizona because I'm used to being in Tampa. But I mean, yeah, so far it's been a great experience.
Josh, there's dozens, hundreds of teams. There's thousands and thousands of players and coaches. So, but the baseball community is tight. As you grow up, become not a veteran quite yet, but you've been in the game for a little while now. Any familiar faces you run into out there, or is everybody kind of new? Anybody you've played against, played with? Do you recognize anybody day to day out there?
Yeah, I feel like every time I go somewhere, you either know someone that you've played with, played against, or like a friend of a friend.
Right.
Um, like for example, there's a kid on the team we're playing today. I'm in Arkansas right now. There's a kid on the team we're playing today that was on my summer ball team in 2022 in Newport,
Nice.
Rhode Island that I haven't seen in 4 years. There was a kid actually Tyler Brott. We played him last weekend. I hadn't
Wow.
seen him in a while. Um, when I got traded to the Diamondbacks, there was a kid from my freshman year summer ball team that was with the organization, and then one of my buddies from the Yankees signed a free agent deal with the Diamondbacks. Even with the Rockies, like there was a kid on my summer ball team my freshman year with the Rockies on my team in Spokane, um, and then like kind of like the everyone knows everyone thing. Like one of
Yeah.
my roommate last year in the season was the catcher at UNC, and one of his best friends was also on the team in Spokane. So there's always connections. I feel like, and it is a pretty small world. And even if you don't know the guy personally, or it seems like at some point throughout your career, you end up playing the same people pretty much all the time, which is cool to see everyone. You kind of like you're kind of in a class of people that you recognize their names from other teams you played or whatever, and it's a cool little everyone crossed paths at some point. I feel like.
I would need that, Josh. I feel like because I've been in Pitt County for 44 years. We taught when we got to know you. We know you traveled the country a little more than me, or maybe even the average person growing up.
Yeah.
So, but does that make you feel any more comfortable when you see a friendly face you know from the past?
Yeah, I mean, like kind of like you said, like my lifestyle growing up, we were always moving around, and
Yeah,
so like this lifestyle is really no different. Like I'm pretty comfortable in a hotel room and in a place I'm not familiar. But it is nice into people you haven't seen in a while, and having a quick conversation like during batting practice or before or after the game, or grabbing a drink with someone that you haven't seen in a while. It's fun. It's fun to reconnect. I think I do a pretty good job of like, keeping in touch with guys. Uh, but it's especially when you know that like they're on the other team or they're going to be on your team in the future. It's fun to reconnect with people from the past for sure.
talking to Josh Grosz. Josh talked to Ryder Giles earlier, who has gotten to the coaching part of
Yep.
baseball, and just wanted to ask you. I mean, your future is making the bigs and pitching in the bigs, hopefully for multiple and many years. But is baseball going to be a part of your life for the rest of it, or do you have other plans? Have you even thought about the next chapter?
I haven't really thought about it. I mean, um, I don't know. Especially being traded a couple times, I really don't even know what my next week looks like. So it's hard to look like 5, 10 years down the road. I would like to sit here and tell you that I play baseball until someone tells me I can't, and hopefully that's ways down the road. But when that's over, I've thought about coaching for sure. It's been in my mind. I don't know if that would look like high school, college, professional, like what that would be, what I would enjoy the most. I don't really know. Um, I think for me personally, like coaching college sports right now would be tough.
Yeah,
Just with the NIL deal and the portal, like I feel like I wouldn't enjoy it as much because I feel like there's less of a relationship you've got with guys because it's so everyone's in and out, and it's tough to like develop kids for a year. Baseball. That's why we have minor leagues, because it takes a long time to develop and become really really good at this game. And that's kind of like the beauty I thought of college sports was like, you come in when you're a freshman, or you're a junior college guy or whatever, and like you integrate into a program because you want to develop and learn, and hopefully you'll look up when you're a junior or senior or a fifth year and you're where you want to be as a player. Um, and so I've thought about like, if I was the coach, probably pro ball for me would be the most
Yeah.
enjoyable because it's like at that point in those kids' careers, like, they're not, you can't just leave. Like if you leave, you're just gonna quit. So like those kids, they're gonna live and die, and like on not everything you say as a coach, but they're gonna want every single tidbit and piece of information they can get to get better because they all have the same goal to get in the big leagues, and they're not gonna be pissed off if they're not even mad at the coach if they're not where they are in a couple of years because it's their career. They take full ownership of that at this level. So that's kind of why I would see pro ball as like the best coaching spot for me right now. But I hope I'm not there. I hope I'm not coaching pro ball for a while or coaching at all for a
Of
while.
course. And Josh, it's funny. It's not just you, but the older you guys get, the more you start to sound like Cliff Godwin. I know you didn't plan on that, but you do.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, that's tough. uh,
Josh Gross joining us.
oh,
Yeah, Josh. Who was it? Was it Danny who was doing some coaching or something? And I guess the guy had his hat a little to the side, or was wearing tennis shoes on the mound, and Danny started yelling at him and was like, and stepped back and said, "Holy crap, I'm turning into Cliff. I need to calm down." But yeah, it
yeah.
was great. Josh, when you throw one on the black, you want that called a strike. Also, when you maybe just miss, but you throw a perfect pitch, you want that called a strike too. So, having said all that, how do you feel about the ABS as a pitcher? For, against, what do you think?
I had ABS when I was in low A my first year, and it's not in double A or high A. I think it's just in triple A in the big leagues. Um, and I didn't hate it because a lot of, I mean, just call it what it is. Like a lot of umpires at lower levels of the game aren't great. Like
Yeah,
they're also going through this process trying to make the big leagues, and so like they're always getting better and learning and getting evaluated. Um, so I didn't. I mean, I didn't mind it. Definitely, I've definitely had a couple strikeouts that I challenged and they went my way because they were called balls. Um, I do like the human part of the game though. Like this is
sure.
a human game. There is an art, especially with pitchers and catchers of like, and I mean as hitters too, of understanding the strike zone. But there's an art as a pitcher of like establishing the zone, and I think ABS definitely might take away some of that. Even there's an art to framing a pitch or like being a good catcher, and I feel like ABS might take away part of that, but at the same time, like when those challenges are gone, it's still baseball at the end of the day. So, if you blow through those challenges in the first or second inning, the zone might get a little bit bigger, and you might have to do a better job of establishing the strike zone, or the catcher might have to get it, try and stick a few more calls. And I like the human side of the game. I don't want full time robots. I think that humans are playing the game. There should be humans that are making judgment calls on the field. So I think it's a cool thing for the fans. Like the fans probably love it because like they can see like like the little diagram on the scoreboard, and they show the animation of the strike hitting the strike zone, the ball hitting the strike zone. But
Yeah, that adds a
um,
little part to the game, a little drama actually. So.
yeah, for sure, and I'm sure they love it. Especially people that watch it on TV that are always, I mean, I do it too. Where I'm watching a big league game and I'm like, oh damn, if Gavin's pitching, like that's a strike, and he doesn't get
Yeah.
the strike call, then you kind of get pissed off. But I like the human part of the game for sure.
Man, it can happen to young guys. It can happen to Cy Young winning vets like Chris Sale. He kind of lost it on the mound the other night, and walked the bases loaded, walked in a run, hit a guy to score a run, and kind of threw the rosin bag down or whatever. And again, it just so I guess my question to you is, Josh, how do you kind of maintain composure up there? Because it's tough sometimes too. I would imagine when things aren't going your way, when maybe there's a bad defensive play or it's mistakes you're making yourself. So you've probably been in those situations. How do you calm yourself down?
Yeah, I mean, I like to think about it like, if that one call is going to make or break my outing, then you're probably not having the best day out there. Um, so try not to worry about that. Like, you hope the umpire makes the right call, and if you have the challenge system, if it's part of the whatever league you're in, then it's definitely a tool that I would use it. I have used it in the past when I had it. But if it doesn't go your way, like at the end of the day, we've all watched enough baseball to know that games aren't necessarily won and lost on one pitch.
Yeah.
It's a team game, and I just try to keep that in mind. And same thing if a guy boots the ball behind you, like what I mean, I know he's pissed. I know he didn't want to make an error. So like it's not. I'm sure he gets pissed if I walk a guy. Like he's got to stand out there and watch four more pitches. So like it goes both ways.
Yeah.
I just think the best players in the game, and Chris Sale's one of them. We all have our moments of like where you probably show a little bit more emotion than you would like, or you let something get to you and it shows. But for the most part, you just got to try and not let those small parts of the game, ruin the rest of your day.
You mentioned you using the challenge system. Did you have free reign to challenge? Did you have to like check with the dugout, like, can I do this, or what was that like with you as a pitcher when you wanted to challenge a call?
Well, you only have a certain amount of time to challenge. You can't like it's not like when you review like a safe call at first base where you can check and be
Right.
like, okay, let's challenge it. You only have like a split second, so you can't like sit there and be like, like should I challenge this? Okay, let's go. You got to kind of do it right away.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I had free reign. Like obviously, if you're a guy that is constantly challenging and getting them wrong, they might tell you stop challenging. Like
Right.
you're wasting them. And even this year in spring training, I know with the Diamondbacks, they were saying that pitchers like don't challenge. Like the catcher has a better view. He probably knows his zone better than you.
Yeah.
So like don't ever challenge pitches. Catchers can challenge, hitters can challenge, but like they didn't want pitchers challenging. Um, but yeah, I had free reign. I mean, in low A, I had pretty much free reign to challenge anything I wanted.
Let's talk about where you are now. Who are you starting this season with, Josh?
I'm in Double A right now, which is in Amarillo, Texas.
Pretty good ball in Double A. Good hitters,
Yeah,
good pitching. Yeah.
yeah, for sure. I mean, this is my second week, so but yeah, there's definitely a difference. We got a really nice stadium in Amarillo. It's a good spot. But yeah, I would say every level you go up, like you start to learn a little bit more about your own game and the level of the hitters you're facing, especially as a pitcher. Like every time you go up, I feel like obviously the hitters are better. They chase less out of the zone. They make better decisions. They have a better approach at the plate. So it's kind of just working with all those pieces and it just makes you sharpen your own tools. Like you really can't necessarily be the same pitcher you were in low A and expect to have the same success in double A or the big leagues because you're facing different competition and the game is just a little bit more advanced. Like I already saw in my first outing, like probably a lot of the two strike pitches that would have gotten swings and misses in low A and high A were not like they're just
Right.
takes because the hitters are just better. And so it's just about establishing the zone more, understanding what the hitter's trying to do and how to use your strengths off of that. Um, and I think that's a pretty constant at the highest level too. But yeah, I would say just every time you go up, the hitters and the pitchers and every part of the game just gets a little bit better, a little more fun. It was more of a challenge for sure, but in a good way.
Josh, I always enjoy talking baseball with you. Is it true that one reason you're, still playing ball and getting traded and moving around, you're trying to get away from those unpaid parking tickets at ECU that you had?
I didn't have too many of those. I think
What happened
I
with you?
think
You got towed, or like, you seem to have some
I
issues? I
got
remember.
I got towed one time at the Providence pool in the summer. And then there was my house on the grid. We never bought like the grid parking pass for this from the city. So if our driveway was full, when we parked on the street, we would get tickets pretty regularly.
Yeah.
And then at the stadium too, like I'd see the parking dudes at the stadium parking lot handing out tickets during practice, and I'm like, where are we supposed to park?
What do you want
Like,
me to do? Yeah.
yeah, like I mean, I don't know what you want. One time I saw the guy handing out tickets, and I was like, like everyone in this lot is a player that is in the stadium right now. And he was
Yeah.
like, well, I'm just doing my job. I'm like, well, like we're here every single day. And like, I've never seen you out here. So I don't know why you're like, and he kind of, I think he went away, but I know in the past, like, I think Coach Godwin gave everyone that was Yeah, he gave everyone that was back from Pro Ball this offseason a parking pass, so we wouldn't get
Good.
tickets at the stadium. So that was huge.
You'd have been like the one guy that got towed this off season. That'd have been great.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
Josh, great catching up with you, man. Good luck. When do you pitch again?
I'm throwing this Friday.
All right, we'll keep an eye on that as we keep an eye on all our minor leaguers, major leaguers. Josh, appreciate it, dude. We'll catch up with you down the road, bud.
Sounds good. Thank you.